You couldn't miss it if you watched Raw at all this week. The WWE was in full slut mode. They were in full prostitute mode. They were giving it up quicker than Sunny trying to get her hands on some freaking drugs. And what am I talking about them giving it up real easy like about? The WWE Network and this 1 week free trial without even having to have a credit card at all. And part of the whole reason for this is the WWE knows, and even the most ardent WWE defender-in-chief knows, that this WWE Network, which has been around for a little over 4 months now, has not exactly been a raging fiscal success for the WWE. Now, what this also shows to me is their willingness to just throw it out there and say, if you paid for it, you're an idiot. We're just going to give everybody a 1 week free trial. Don't even need a freaking credit card. And we're going to have one mission and one goal and one focus on Raw. And that's nothing to do with building the Battleground or anything else at all. That is trying to slut out this free trial for the WWE Network. That was their whole mission. And that's what they wanted to do. And the reason being is because the WWE is desperate. Here's what we know about the WWE Network. It was released initially only in the U.S., which seems to be the first kind of thing that you sit there and say, wow, that was kind of stupid. You portray yourself as this international entertainment brand, which to be fair to the company you are, yet you go on this whole new venture and you only release it to one portion of your audience. And all the while, you set in place a goal that would more effectively encompass everybody throughout your audience and scope and demographics by saying in order to break even with this network, you need to have at least 1 to maybe 1.2 million subscribers to the WWE Network in order for it to break even, in order for it to really be a fiscal success. But you set this ambitious goal and you limit yourself in terms of the initial customer base they could reach out to. That seems kind of stupid. And not surprising to me is that the WWE has fallen way short of that goal so far. The last subscription numbers we got were a little bit over, I believe, 670,000 subscribers to the WWE Network here in the United States. So less than 7/10 of the way to the goal. That's not good. So it also shouldn't have been a surprise when we heard the WWE was anticipating a huge fiscal loss for 2014, and you've seen the edicts and you've seen the reports talking about the WWE needs to make across-the-board drastic budget cuts to the tune of $20 million, if not more, throughout the rest of 2014 to try and offset the early monetary losses associated with the WWE Network. So the only way that the WWE can sit there and justify going through all of this and justify doing this WWE Network and continuing to try and run with the WWE Network is to get more eyeballs on the WWE Network and get more people ultimately to subscribe to the WWE Network. And hence, that's a big reason why they're trying to sit there and prostitute and slut this thing out and say, hey, here's a free 1 week trial. You know, we know we've talked about this since January. We know it's been live since February 24th. But all the other crap, you haven't subscribed. Now's the chance. Check it out for a week. We don't even want your credit card information. And there you go. And, you know, it would seem like in theory this would be a smart move. You're talking about a Raw that draws over 4 million viewers estimated per week. I believe this week's show did a little over 4.3 million viewers. And you would say, hey, you know, 4.3 million people that are watching this on cable television, you would have to think that a lot of them, since they're coming and watching the product on a week in, week out basis, that a lot of these people would have an interest at least, if nothing else, checking this damn thing out for a week. And then afterwards saying, hey, you know what? It's only $9.99 a month. I kind of like this product. I'm going to subscribe to the network. So be it. And bam, everybody's happy. Bob's your uncle. It's a big raging success. The problem with this philosophy is, though, is that the WWE, when it comes to some of these things, really lives in a corporate fantasy land. You know, when I saw Stephanie McMahon recently say that WWE has 360 million social media followers, I said, wow. You want to talk about really skewing the math. That's probably based off of a group of 8 to 10 million people across the entire globe that are following and go into combination. The point is, you don't have 360 million unique Twitter followers or social media followers, and it's nowhere close to that number. And if the WWE actually believes in this bullshit, that's a problem, because they are basing their objectives and their initiatives and their directives and their vision as a company off of unrealistic expectations and numbers. You look at when they say that 50 to 60 million households have an affinity for a WWE product. Well, if that was the case, how come only 4 to 4.5 million consistently watch your flagship show Raw on a week in, week out basis? So you're telling me all of these households, potentially 50, 60 million of them, have this great affinity for your product, for your brand, and yet about 5% of those people that have this great affinity for you actually bother to take the time and check you out every single week. Again, it's this ridiculous, phony bullshit math that the WWE uses to try and make itself look a whole hell of a lot better than it really is. Out of the 4.3 million people that watched Raw this past week, let's just say that every single one of them that actually watched, you were watching regular means. I'm going to take out the people that stream Raw every week, and I won't include them into the math that I'm going to use. So let's say out of the 4.3 million that all watched Raw via cable or satellite television in some way, shape, or form, that estimated number, that every single one of those people is potentially a WWE subscriber. And out of that, 679,000 of them are already subscribers to the WWE network. I'm taking out every single person that streams it, every single person that maybe is subscribed to the network but doesn't watch Raw on a weekly basis. So that means just a little bit over 15% of your audience that watches your Raw show on a week in, week out basis is actually subscribed to your paid premium subscription service. Now think about that for a second. Over the recent years, you saw this trend in the company's pay-per-view business where the revenues weren't necessarily growing in relation to expenses, and sometimes the buy rates would fall, but sometimes the buy rates overall would be the same. But WWE would kind of fudge the numbers and present it as one big thing, even though the domestic numbers were dropping and the international numbers, which were at a cheaper amount, were the same. So you kind of get what I'm saying here. It's, again, fudging the numbers and playing with the books in order to make themselves look a lot better than they really are. So out of 4.3 million people that watched Raw this week, an estimated total, mind you, 670,000 of them are subscribed to your WWE network. After almost a half year of promoting this, after almost a half year of marketing this, you're talking about 15% of your total audience. And another real problem with this is the disconnect from reality for the WWE and, frankly, from wrestling fans here, particularly on the internet. For a lot of people on the internet, the WWE network sounds like a great and tremendous thing. And everybody assumes because they love it and that they'll pay the $9.99 for it, that this means this is going to be a great long-term business venture for the WWE. And that's not to say that long-term, after some growing pains and after they start releasing into Canada and into the UK and internationally, and as it gains a foothold and it gains traction and it slowly increases its market share, that the WWE network won't be a great financial success for the company long term. But the fact is, right now, it just isn't. It just isn't. And what these numbers indicate to me is that, by and large, the only people that are really truly subscribing to the WWE network are the internet fans. Because if we use the numbers and the math that have been used by the Eric Bischoffs and the Vinces and the Triple H's and all the people associated with professional wrestling over the years, we have been led to believe that the total size of the internet fan base for professional wrestling is somewhere between 10 to 25%. Somewhere between those numbers, 10 to 25%, depending on who you ask, depending on their mood, on the time of day. So 15% of your total Raw viewership is subscribed to your network. That would lead me to believe that primarily the only people that are buying it are the people that you tend to hate the most, you tend to appeal to the least, that you tend to like to piss off the most. And herein lies the conflict for the WWE. They think that at $9.99 a month, this should be worth it for all 4.3 million people that watch their Raw show on a week in, week out basis. And to a certain degree, I don't disagree with the WWE. I don't disagree with their position as a company. But maybe they also have to understand that they're not giving all of these 3.5+ million people that aren't subscribed to the network a reason to actually subscribe to the network. And slutting out and prostituting a 1-week free trial, excuse me, Vince, that's not going to get the job done. You're not selling them on why. Why? You have to sell them on the whys, not the bullshit, the whys. The X's, the Z's, it doesn't fucking matter. You got to sell them on the whys. If they were never buying a pay-per-view before, then what the fuck are they going to care if a pay-per-view is basically only $9.99 a month? You have to continue to promote the product that is on there. You also have to give them a better product on a week-in, week-out basis with your Raw shows and your Smackdown shows and do all of these other things. I mean, the bottom line is the WWE is desperate here. They know they screwed up. They know they made a mistake in terms of having unrealistic expectations originally, prostituting out those unrealistic expectations from the very beginning, while unnecessarily limiting themselves significantly in terms of the overall total customer base that they could actually appeal to with this damn thing. And furthermore, like I said, if we believe what we've been told before, 670, a little bit more, 1,000 people out of 4.3 million, that's a little over 15%. So basically, the only people that are subscribing to it, by and large, are your internet fans that you don't like, that you try not to appeal to. And then you sit there and decide that the best way to appeal to those people, as these subscriptions are going to start coming due in the next month or two in terms of due for renewal, is you're going to make John Cena the WWE World Heavyweight Champion. It just shows how desperate the WWE is to slut out this free trial because, frankly, they don't fucking know and they don't understand and they don't have a grasp on what they need to do in order to reach that 1 million subscriber total. And frankly, they're not going to reach that number domestically. There's no way, shape, or form that that's going to be possible, because they're not doing a good enough job of explaining the whys for people getting the damn network. The people that are buying it are the hardcore fans that were going to buy it regardless, the ones that the WWE intentionally doesn't appeal to. So what does it mean if this free trial doesn't work? You know, in my opinion, if you can't sit there and get 1 million of these damn viewers to sit there and check out this network for 1 week for free, then you ought to start entertaining the thought of potentially closing up shop on this whole fucking venture. If you have slutted it out to the level that you did on Raw, a 1-week free trial without even having to attach a freaking credit or debit card to it, and you can't get 25% of your audience to check it out for 1 week, then you really, truly have a problem. Make no mistake about it. The WWE is desperate. And they have nobody to blame ultimately for the struggles in the initial stages of the WWE network but themselves.